Good morning, everyone. Phil Ellis from Northern Accountants. I hope you're well. I just wanted to follow up from the weekend's briefings with a bit of a questions and answer session. We sent out a couple of briefings over the weekend. One was regarding key workers, which does seem to have been pretty self-explanatory, and the other is regarding to the coronavirus job retention scheme the government announced on Friday. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions flying around about this. There's a lot of conjecture. There's lots of misinterpretation of what actually was said. So over the weekend I received quite a lot of questions from people, and expectedly so, about how this grant works, how it's claimed, the finer detail of it. So what I thought I'd do is for today is just to pull together some of those questions and answers to try and make it a little bit easier for you to understand in a very short video. So the crux of the scheme is the retention scheme has been set up to support businesses that would have laid people off, made them redundant, let them go as a result of the coronavirus. So the idea is to keep the team employed, but obviously not working. So you would have lost the resource anyway, but the idea now is that you can retain the team for when the coronavirus lifts. So what the government says is that from the 1st of March, anybody who has been furlonged can have a grant of 80% paid towards their wages to a maximum of £2,500. Some of the constraints around that, they had to be on the payroll at the 28th of February. And the main question is, what is furlonged? So basically, furlonged is where the person would have been stood down from work, no work is available for them, probably faced redundancy and would have increased unemployment rates within the UK. So what needs to happen, you need to, in order to fulfill this and to meet the criteria, what you need to do is you need to notify the employees of the change in their employment status. So obviously this is a HR issue and you need to write to them and follow the appropriate channels. However, I did speak to an employment lawyer over the weekend because lots of people are scared about tribunals and so on and so forth. And their advice, and again, you can't take this as me advising you to do this, this is just what they told me. So what they said to me in this situation was consider commercial before legal, because they believe that in a time of crisis like this, a lot of employment rights will be waived as a result of that, and you will find very sympathetic judges if you didn't do things in the right manner. But in order to protect yourself, what you should do is use a HR advisor. Ultimately, this is about the long-term protection of the business and the long-term support of the British economy. So there is a very clear pathway which you'll need to follow, but again, there will be they expect there to be some leeway in things like that. So I think the message is do what you need to do, but do it as close to the line as you can, and make sure that you get some advice. And hopefully any consequences of errors or misjudgment will be reviewed favourably at a tribunal. So what they said you need to do is you need to submit the history about the employees on an HMRC portal, which is currently being built because the current systems don't facilitate the payment. And HMRC will reimburse 80% of the furlonged wages workers' costs up to a cap of £2,500 a month. So basically, this is open for 3 months, dated from the dated from the 1st of March. So it's not, but the problem is it's not going to facilitate an immediate cash injection. We aren't expecting to see this until April, so there is still 5-6 weeks before this could potentially be in place. So if there's anything that you're looking for in terms of cash flow support, the VAT deferral and the coronavirus business loan interruption scheme may be better options for you in the short term. So some of the questions that I got asked, I think I've covered this one. What the hell does furlonged mean? Like I said, to look at myself, it is if you allow someone to be absent from work for a period of time. That is basically what it is. So you would send somebody home, there's no work for them to do, there's basically they don't have to come into the office or do anything on the site. So next question, are the government going to pay my team for me? No, there seems to be a common misconception about that. The government will subsidise 80% of your team costs while they work with you. It's but it's not for people that are actually working. So if your team are functional, are in the office, so our team are in today, I wouldn't be able to claim the 80% for those guys because they have work to do and the business can continue. So basically they would have to have been potentially made redundant in this situation. So if you were looking to lay somebody off, then you can make them prolonged and then you can claim the 80%. Surely they can do the odd job for me whilst they're off. Absolutely not, is the status. If they're off, they're off. They can't do any work for you. Can they go part-time and benefit from this? Nope, literally, they can't lift a finger. They can't do any work for you at any period in time during the time that they are prolonged. What you would be best doing is making some of your staff full-time and some of your staff, and put them on the other part of the staff on garden leave. That will be an interesting discussion of who gets to sit home and do nothing and get paid 80% and who has to come into the office. Who qualifies? Anybody on the payroll on the 29th of February. Can I go back and change the 29th of February payroll? Technically, yes, you can. Would I advise that you do it? No, I wouldn't. I suspect that calculations will be looked at far further back than the 29th in the future, so you may be able to claim a short-term advantage now, but there certainly will be recourse because of the RTI submissions. You know, that if there's an influx of workers on the 1st of February, that is reported conveniently on after the 20th, 23rd of March, I suspect that you would be flagged for fraud, which is basically what it is. And I suspect the repercussions of that would be quite heavy, and it's also not something that we're willing to do, so please don't ask us to do that. What else have we got? How do we work out what 80% is of? Well, no one really knows yet. We don't know if it's gross, we don't know if it's net. And I also think that's the first question. And the next question will be, especially on people that work on hourly rates and things like that, I suspect it will be based over an average of 12 weeks pay historically. But again, we don't know. It's massively up in the air, so we're not entirely sure. Another question, going back to the February payroll alterations, can I change February's payroll to bump up the figure? It's not really a good idea. Again, RTI submissions have been made on your behalf. You have already reported your payroll. The government already know how much money's gone in. Corresponding bank payments will have made. There are bank receipts, transfers. Everything in that case points to what the actual pay was. So to go back and change it would again be another sign of fraud, and I suspect the repercussions of that would be particularly strong. Bear in mind, you know, this is a scheme that's set up to support us in our hour of need, and to take advantage of it would be ethically and morally wrong. So yes, I don't think you should go back and change your February. What else have we got? My kids' mother and brother are on the payroll but have never lifted a finger in the business. Can I claim for them even though they'll continue to do nothing? Technically, yes, but I'm assuming that I don't know about that, and everybody's working and so on and so forth. So I wouldn't mention that. I would just follow the HR steps and do the things that you need to do there. Can directors benefit from this? Again, I would say yes, directors will claim, but it will be on the amount of money that you pay through the PAYE scheme. So for many of you, that will be either £712 a month or probably £1,000 a month. So again, there's not a lot. I don't think at the moment there is anything with regards to dividends. I do suspect something will come out in the near future. What, we don't know, but we need to, if you look at that. And you know, one of the other questions is, if you do prolong a director, is there really a business there to come back to? It's something that you probably seriously need to consider and think about. Okay, what else have we got? You've said to me that you wouldn't go back and adjust the February payroll, and you wouldn't change the February history. But my mate's accountant said they would. It's not really a problem that if they want to write to us for your professional clearance, I'm more than happy to respond in due course. Ultimately, I've got a duty to protect the many and not just the few. We have over 500 clients, and if we're found to act untoward in this situation, every single one of our clients would be investigated, and that's not fair for us just to help out one party. So just be aware of that. I think that's about all I've had in terms of the summary. There's obviously multiple questions, but I've tried to condense them into as quick a video as I could. The only other thing that I did find out this weekend was in terms of the government grant, in terms of the that relates to the business rates. You don't have to apply for it. It will be done automatically. The councils will write to you in April and tell you how this goes about. There's no application required. And what I am told is if you send your account number and business rates reference number into your local council at the rates address, which can be found on the website, it will speed the process up. I think that's about it for now. As always, we're here to support you. Our call process starts today. So basically in that we're going to be going through and assessing what sort of support you need from a technological point of view. So we're looking at Stripe software, Chaser software, and the Float software, all massively vital tools which we believe will form part of the armoury to get through this. There's some other bits and pieces that we're going to send out. Attached to this email will be a basic cash flow sheet which allow you to short-term plan your cash flow. Just help that. It's a simple Google Doc which basically you just fill in and complete, and we will obviously over the next couple of weeks we'll be replacing that with an automated processing flow for the clients that wish to take that up, which is good. The other thing that we would encourage you to do is to do some personal budgeting to make sure that your personal outgoings are at an absolute minimum, and again there's a process behind that, so I will talk about that in future videos. Other than that, I think that's it. Like I say, we're in this together and we're here for the long haul, so if you need anything, please don't hesitate to contact us. All of you should have a link to your CM's diary now, so if you want to book in for the original 15-minute session regarding getting the software set up, please do that. And if you want another 15-minute session or multiple sessions, again, use the link again to clear time in their diary. Otherwise, the team are not taking inbound calls because of the volume of work they've got to get through. So you've got access to their diaries. Just drop in and speak to them at any due course. Alternatively, you can always email me or email them or send them a WhatsApp, send them a text message. That's absolutely fine. They will get back to you. I will get back to you as soon as we can. That's it. Have a great day, and I'll update you with anything further as soon as it comes in. All right, thank you.